Huge opening week for big hitters, the Red Scares, and the Compass Crushers posting a loss, but did it in the most exciting way possible. Let's talk ball. Hello, I'm your host, Sean McCauley. Welcome to A View From the Bullpen. It's the first week, it's opening week of the All-Star Baseball Classic. We're going to get straight into it here. I'm not going to keep you hanging around. I don't want these podcasts to drag on forever. We're going to keep them short, little bite-size analysis of the week. And if we get time, we'll do some player profiles as we go as well. So let's get into it. Day one, we are looking at Renaissance Runners against the Royal Flushers. So it's a pretty good game for day one. We've got Bonaparte up against DiBondone. Bonaparte really relying on that changeup. Really leaning hard into that changeup. Honestly, I don't think he's got that much else to go to right now. So it's an interesting choice for me for the Flushers to go with that. You look at someone like DiBondone, he's playing some great ball already this season. He is not messing around. He had a fantastic game. Let's look at the result. The Flushers win it 2-1. So I can sit here all I want. I can say DiBondone, wow, what a great play. Bonaparte not playing as good, relying on one pitch really to get people out. But if they win the game 2-1, what does it really matter? I think, honestly, the first 3 to 4 innings of that game, Bonaparte's kind of lucky not to give up any big plays. And I think the runners really didn't take advantage of what is not a particularly strong team right now. I think when I'm looking at those players, you've got Victoria out in right field. She's had an excellent first day out. She's definitely one that I want to keep an eye on. But the rest of that team, yeah, they're picking up the plays where they need to. They're picking up balls where they need to. They end up winning the game. I don't think that this has longevity for the season. I don't think that if they carry on the way they're going, I don't think they're going to do super, super well. Whereas I look at the runners and I see DiBondone immediately, day one, DiBondone, one to watch on the mound. I do think that high wall at Motor Yard saved Bonaparte quite a lot. We could probably say it saved DiBondone a little bit too. Come the 6th inning, Bonaparte's out for Charlemagne. Things, honestly, at the mound, for me, if I'm watching that game, they're getting worse for the Flushers. I'm not stoked about their bullpen. I'm not stoked about their pitching team. They're not the worst in the league. We'll come to that after. But seeing Charlemagne come in and not put up great numbers, look, they win the game, all right? First RBI doesn't come in till the 6th. We get a nice double play, keeping it at 1-0 to the Renaissance Runners. Habsburg comes up injured, pulls a hamstring late in the game. Could be something to keep an eye on. Not sure if he's going to be playing next week yet. We'll find out. Thinking about Charlemagne, left a lot to his outfield. And like I said, Victoria had a fantastic game in right field. The rest of the outfield really kept them in it, and that's what gets them there. DiBondone, yeah, he's got a great game. Gets pulled out at the end of the 7th. Ike comes in, bottom of the 8th. DiBondone, yeah, he comes out at the 7th. Maybe kept in a little bit too long. Want to see a little bit more of that bullpen, a little bit more variety. Ike comes in for the Flushers after Bonaparte's 95 pitches. I think that's too many too. But you know what? Bottom of the 8th, they sneak one in, the Flushers. They make it 2 after a fly out to left field. It gave them an opportunity. They win 2-1. Good game of ball. It's what we want to see opening day, opening week. Both teams left it all out on the field. Thought it was fantastic. Let's move on. Game 2. Day 2 at the Corral. Potomac Commanders against the Nordic Nightmares. This was set up to be a whitewash. And honestly, it wasn't far away from it. Okay? Fairhair, you're looking at the Nordic Nightmares at Fairhair. Probably has the widest set of pitches in the league. He's a real jack of all trades. Okay? It's not the focus for this team. On paper, they're a big hitting team. They rely on those big offensive plays. Did we see that happen this week? I don't think so. I don't think we've seen everything that the Nordics can put up for us. I don't think that this early in the season we're going to see them at their full potential. The Potomacs are big hitters too. Maybe not quite as much as the Nordics, but they also really showed it. I expected a higher scoring game. Okay, the game ends up 5-3 to the Potomacs. Okay, I say high scoring. It's a pretty high scoring game. I expected it to be more. Bush comes in with that nasty curveball. And the Nordics just couldn't find a way to deal with it. It's going to be hard to hit. I think that's going to be hard for every team in this league to hit. And the Potomacs show it on both sides of the ball. George Washington hits a 427 feet home run, first of the season, puts the Potomacs on the board. I think the Nordics getting away with a few long fouls. There could have been a couple more home runs there if they just stayed inside. The Potomacs kind of looking at that far right field corner, trying to get it over the fence, maybe not succeeding, trying a little bit too hard to play it out into that part of the field. I don't know. I think they're going to need some luck this year unless they can really figure out that offensive side of the ball, because on defense, I just saw them struggle all day. And we know that Fairhair has a tendency to fall behind quickly. That's what we're going to have to look at, and that's what we're going to have to see. Is he able to compose himself and get himself back together when he starts to fall behind? So they do try and bring it back. Ironside hits a 430-foot homer. He's probably the biggest hitter on that team. He's someone I'm keeping an eye on. He's someone who really impressed me. It's their first game of the season. I loved to see what he was throwing out there. Couple of times at the plate, I saw him do great stuff. Not necessarily hitting every single ball. He's batting at a 333 average. It's the first day of the season. He's played one game. I think that's going to go a lot higher. There's a couple of batters in this league who are hitting big numbers right now, but they've played one game. They've had like 3 or 4 at-bats. You kind of expect it. Okay, some pitchers are still warming up. Some pitchers are still figuring out where they sit in this league. But early on, Bush really far ahead in the pitch count. By the 6th inning, they kind of get it back. Fairhair starting to look like a pitcher, someone that I want to see, but after 70 pitches, the coach has seen enough. Skylar Grimson subs in, immediately gets a strikeout. Perfect relief pitching from Skylar Grimson. The Potomacs respond. Grant comes in bottom of the 7th. Bush pitched 87, 88 pitches. It's pretty good. I think he could have gone longer. I think they pull him out too early. But first game, feeling confident, feeling good about it. Let's see what these other guys can do. And I like Grant. I like what he's putting out there. I think he's actually a perfect relief pitcher. Top of the 8th, Trigger Vassen for the Nordics. Immediately gives up an RBI double. That's game. That's game. They do the exact opposite to what the Potomacs were doing. I'm not confident. Lot to work on. I think what they need to do is, if you look at what the Potomacs were doing, when Grant starts to kind of lose himself a little bit, he's losing the ball a little bit, batters are making a little bit of contact, he's getting away with a couple of lucky ones, you kind of see him just take his time, composes himself, gets himself back in the right mental space, and the Potomac's get back in the game. And they don't give up any runs. Might give up a couple of hits. The team comes together. They don't give up any runs. That's what the Nordics need to start doing. It's not enough to just play the offensive side of the ball. They've got to be able to figure that out. I think the Nordics infield struggled as well. Wasn't stoked with the way they were playing. I think it's not just Fairhair, it's not just Triggervarsson. I think the whole infield, the outfield, totally fine. Nothing really to comment, but the infield, they need to be working on that composure too. And then Andrew Jackson, they're up 5-3. It's like the 9th inning, and he breaks a bat. Breaks a bat on the ground. Bit of a hothead. Could be fun to watch, but maybe he needs to relax a little bit as well. All right, let's move on. Game 3. Now, Game 3, we head to Peril Point. It's a cloudy evening game. It's dusty. It's warm. The Guillotine Swingers are going to be used to this. This is not unusual for Peril Point. The Slammers might have had a hard time here. Did they? Well, they put up a lot of points. They still lose 5-4. And I'll tell you why. Because the Guillotines have a strong team of workhorses. Talk about team play. Talk about chemistry. These guys, they've got it in spades. You know what? It ends up being a tight game. It's 5-4. But Forks is taken out too early for me. And Thales is left in too long for the Slammers. That goes both ways. I think the Slammers really struggled to respond to some really solid gameplay, and particularly in the early game, the Guillotines said, we're here to play. We might not have the strongest individual players, and you can look at Forks and you can say, yeah, you know what, he's definitely not the strongest pitcher on that mound. But he's a player I'm expecting to actually see him play a couple of no-hitters this season. I'm predicting it already. I think as the season goes on, he's going to get better and better and better. And they are not going to need that bullpen very much. That bullpen's going to get bored. They're going to need to start stretching their legs, doing something else. Maybe figure out some card games. I don't know. Right? Because I can see Forks staying in for long nights on the mound. I think that arm has a lot to do. Bolivar takes a 382 homer in the second. That short right field. I think at home, that's a huge advantage. Yeah, it can be a risk. It's always a risk when you've got a short right field, a really big left field. It's a weird stadium. It's a weird setup. But if they can make it work for them and they can line up their outfield and make it work, I think we could see a lot of home runs. But Forks has got to see how the other teams, particularly as the season goes on, how they're going to start to try and use Peril Point against them and the setup of that field. You know, thinking about Thales, he's got a pretty good curveball. Didn't show it in this game at all. He tried it. Couldn't get it to hit consistently. Now, when it is, it's nasty. But he's really got to lock it in to stay competitive in this league because he doesn't have much else. His other pitches are fine. They work. But he's got to start locking it in. Forks really just got into a groove. And you know what? He stayed there. Found it really easy. Let's look at the other side of the ball. Let's stop talking about the pitchers. Let's start talking about the batters. Let's start talking about the infield, the outfield. I really expected Zapata to have a better game. Against a right-handed pitcher like Thales, I thought he was actually going to get some bigger hits. He's someone that I expected on this team on paper. I thought he was going to do better. I was a bit disappointed. But Bolivar and Villa, standouts on offense. Villa, keep an eye on him. Bolivar, pretty sensational. I'm just going to very quickly look up his stats because it was pretty good. Simon Bolivar, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, no strikeouts. He's batting at a .75, a 750 average. There's a few players in this league, week 1, who are hitting a 750. There's only one player higher than that. I think Bolivar's someone who's going to stay there. Looking at Villa, 2 hits, 1 RBI, batting 500. It's pretty good. I don't know. I think this could be a really strong team. A team I really want to watch. I'm pretty excited about it. I think that Fawkes is taken out a little too early. Amaru wasn't super impressed. So he's one who maybe needs to figure it out. But again, it's early. It's early in the season. I'm not going to talk too much about that. We'll just see how that develops over the year, over the week. Zeno, though, for the Slammers, few impressive plays out in center field. Didn't really do much of the plate. He's definitely one. If you're playing the Slammers, don't be hitting at center field. Wait till Zeno gets subbed out, then hit it at center field. Right? It's going to be fine. At the plate, I'm not worried about him at all. Unless you're a Slammers fan. But he's taken out in the 7th. That's a strange decision. I guess his work at the plate wasn't seen as being good enough. But is where it is. I don't know. Both teams, really aggressive stealing strategy. Didn't really pay off for either of them. Yeah, okay, early in the league. I kind of get it. Fine. Try it, see what happens. If you do that all season, teams are going to catch you out. I was impressed with Daly's 109 pitches. That I like to see. Stretching them game 1. These pitches are fresh. Stretch them. See what they can do. I know some teams, they want to bring in the bullpen. They want everyone to get a little bit of experience. They want everyone. They want everyone. They want everyone to have a little go. I do think he's kept in a little bit too long. I do think he's run his race a little bit before that. 109 pitches, that's a lot for any pitcher. Fawkes was doing a much better job of controlling that count, but that's kind of what we expect to see. Really controlled, won't look to the pen very often, hits a century top of the 8th, gets a little hairy with a walk, and Maru comes in, immediately allows a 3-run RBI. That keeps the Slammers in the game, kind of makes them feel like they can play. I don't know. Honestly, if I'm Fawkes, I'm pretty upset. I feel like he had more in him. Bolivar, though, yeah, let's just talk about his two home runs. MVP for the week, easy. He really kept them in this game. I think without Bolivar taking Fawkes out early, I think they lose this game. Bolivar wins them that game. He was truly brilliant. Pythagoras on the Slammers. Last thing I'm going to say about this game, I've talked about it way too long. He had a disaster. He needs to go away and think about what he's going to do next week, because that was not good. All right, okay, let's move on because I'm talking about this too long. Let's go to game 4. Let's talk about the Red Scares. Let's talk about the Red Scares. Making a statement. 10-5 at home against the Gladiators. I actually thought the Gladiators were pretty good. I was actually kind of impressed. I think they played really well. But the Scares at home at Parque Jardineros, nice weather, good turnout from both supports. Mark's coming out of lefty. This is a big ballpark. I think for a less defensive team, it could have been challenging for the Scares. They're big hitters. They're offensive players. You want to see them shoot home runs. You kind of want them in a smaller ballpark so they can really take advantage of those home runs and those big hits. They can make them look even bigger. You get a couple of easy home runs in the first 2-3 innings, most of your games. Yeah, other teams might be getting home runs, but consistently, every single time, you play half of your games there. Half of your games you're getting home runs because you've got a slightly smaller ballpark. Yeah, people are going to pick up on it eventually, but it doesn't make you feel good when you're there. Okay? 420 home run for Guevara out to right field. Easy. Very quickly followed up 399 out to left for the Gladiators. Top of the 6th, King comes in, top of the 6th. Not really much to talk about there. On the pitching side for the Scares, I wasn't super impressed, but they're doing enough to keep them in these games, and I think that they're going to keep doing well all year. They're nothing to write home about. They're nothing to complain about either. They're just solid. They're good at what they do. They're not going to impress you, but when they go onto the offensive side of the ball, they're going to make some big plays, even in this big ballpark. And they're going to put up big numbers all year, 10-5. Bigger scoreline takes them to the top of the table. Mao made some huge plays. Gets barely over the wall in the right corner. But at this point, they're up 4-1. Diocletian comes in for the Gladiators, bottom of the sixth, to take over pitching duties. Gives up a 459 home run to Trotsky. 452 for Mao on the next at-bat. They are just tearing up the Gladiators. It cannot feel good. I don't care. You're putting 5 runs on the board, but you're conceding 10 with home run after home run. It doesn't feel good. Then they put Aurelian in. It kind of settles the game down, but the game's gone. Pol Pot, top of the 8th for as the Glads kind of start to come back. They start to claw a bit of a game back. But then Ho Chi Minh throws one out, 422. Game's over. 10-5. Red Scares, we got to watch them. They're top of the table right now. Gladiators drop to the bottom. That is on run difference, obviously. Half the table has 1 win. Half the table has one loss. The differences will be decided by run difference. Red Scares on +5. Gladiators on -5. All right, 2 more games to go. So, Game 5, Colonial Plaza. We have the Compass Crushers against the Virtuous Vanguards. This is my game of the week. This was not one that I was going into thinking much of. It ends up being such a great contest. You've got a really short outfield in the corners, really long in the middle. It's this kind of like reverse diamond-shaped park, right? It's really nice. It plays exactly the way you expect it to. It's probably the most fair, most easy park to play for every team. I think it's actually going to be kind of hard for the Compass Crushers to defend on it. But I really like it. You've got Marco Polo pitching for the Crushers. He's got some nice variety in his arsenal. He can throw a lot of different things out there, and he's actually pretty consistent with everything. Really strong defensive play, really tight in the outfield, quick to prevent stealers. This is going to be a team to watch. They end up losing this game. They end up losing 4-6. But I still think they're a team to watch. The reason I think they're a team to watch, even with a loss, is because the Virtuous Vanguards, first 3 innings, I'm like, they're out of here. This is over. They look terrible. And I had to eat my words because, wow, what a comeback. Early on, neither of them can get anything going. Vasquez has a couple of good contacts, but it takes a fairly fortunate hit for a home run in the bottom of the 4th to get the Crushers on the board. After that, the Crushers, they look real good. Their mojo's through the roof. 2 home runs, 3-point lead. Out of nowhere, the Vanguards reply the next inning. We've got a game. It's 3-2. This is a game. And then Douglas. I said there was one player batting higher than a 750 average. Douglas. 100% hit rate for Douglas. The only player in the league doing that in week 1. That's pretty incredible. 4 at-bats. 2 runs. 4 hits. 2 home runs. 3 RBIs. That is a box score that you want to be proud of. Then they get another home run for 407. It's a 2-run home run. So Hudson comes in for Polo. He's got a pretty narrow arsenal, but those 4 seams are crazy. And I like his red mitt. A little bit of flair, a little bit of style to his throw, and he puts on the red mitt. It kind of looks pretty cool. I got to admit, I like it a lot. I think he's going to be fun to watch. He's not going to be the most clinical pitcher, right? He's not going to be the most clinical pitcher. We look at Hudson's stats. He's got a whip of 2.8. And you're saying, yeah, Sean, we know. It's week 1. I know it's week 1. I know. But he gives up 6 hits in 2 innings. You just can't be doing that in this league. You just can't be doing that in this league and expect to win games. This is a home game. This is game 1. On the other side, we get Marshall, subs in for Anthony on the mound, bottom of the 8th. I don't like that at all. I don't really like that substitution. Bringing in the closer too early. Then they make an even worse decision. They put Truth in. She's got a whip of 15. She lets up 2 hits in 2 outs. Gives up a walk. Gets 1 strikeout. She's got a whip of 15. Yeah, it'll come down as she plays more innings. I just think you've put your closer in. Stick to it. It's already not a good decision. I would have probably put Lewis in, but that's me. That's why I'm talking on this mic, and I'm not down in the dugout. Okay? I thought Anthony had a really decent game. Okay? In all fairness, though, Truth, she does close it out for the Vanguards. Manages to do it on a 2-3 count, bases loaded. That's a tough play. Okay? That is hard. They could have lost that game by 1 run. Nice walk-off homer. Even an in-the-park double ties up the game, takes us to a 10th inning. Okay? She sees it out. I don't know. They've got some work to do. Their bullpen, not amazing. But they've got some good hitters, good teamwork. I like what's happening with the rest of the team. All right. Last game of the week. Last game. Now this, I expected a little bit more from. 2 kind of slow starting teams here. Iron Warlords, Spark Syndicate. We're at Swagger Center. First night game of the season. Perron gets off to a great start. But he's subbed for Videla real early. He gets off to a good start and it fades so fast. By the 5th inning, he's already out of there. Earliest use of the bullpen this week, that's got to say something. Either they trust their relievers or they don't trust their starter. Either way, I wouldn't be happy about it. But under the whites at Swagger Center, lefty Kepler is really going to challenge what the Warlords are doing. Syndicate caused a lot of problems in the infield. The Warlords taking a little bit of time to get set up. Their infield seemed a little all over the place for the first couple of innings. Took them a little while to get going. Once they settle in, we start to get a bit of a more even game. Still, probably, I wouldn't say the low point of the week, but it's definitely not a highlight. The high walls, I think that's going to stop quite a few homers here. They do not count. It has to go over the wall. And particularly in right field, there's a really high wall. I think it saved both of these teams really early on from a few faults. And I think it might, if the Warlords can play a few home games early on, which they're at home next week, it could be good for them to help them settle in, get Perron going a little bit for their first away game at Peril Point, which I think will be tough in week 3. But back to this game here. So the Syndicate sneak it over the lower section in the 4th, 427-foot homer. Dolphus fires back at 351 over the high wall. Saves them early on for them faults, but Dolphus finds it. That's what we're going to need to see from them. They've got to be able to find it. Franklin comes in, bottom of the 5th after a couple of big plays to show the Warlords where to go. Curie dislocates her shoulder. Dislocates her shoulder. That's a tough injury. Hey, week 1, dislocated shoulder. We had a hamstring from Habsburg. Could be 2 people who are not here next week. I'll keep you updated. Sagan comes in, bottom of the 8th, lets up a run. High wall saves them again. Metaxas comes in onto the mound to close this one out. Does a great job. He's composed. He's utilising the arsenal he has, which really is a 4-seam and a curveball. But he's a closer. I don't need to see him with a big arsenal. I need to see him using his very specific pitches really, really well. Perfect 9th inning relief. The Warlords win 2-1. All right. What a great opening week. Truly incredible opening week. I'm so excited that the season is here. We got 21 more weeks before playoffs. And I'm excited. This pod has gone so much longer than I thought it would. I'm going to try and cut these down by about 10 minutes in future, because we still got to go through a player profile. And we're going to look at Guy Fawkes. Maybe I should have done this in the pod when we were talking about the guillotines. That might have made more sense. That's something for me to think about in future. But let's talk about it. Player profiles, okay? Guy Fawkes. I want to take these first 12 weeks of the season. Let's get to know some of these starting pitchers. Guy Fawkes for the Swingers, more affectionately known as Guido, while fighting for the Spanish. He was a member of a group of provincial English Catholics involved in the failed gunpowder plot of 1605. Fawkes was born in York, but he left for mainland Europe, where he fought for Catholic Spain in the 80 Years' War against the Protestant Dutch reformers in the Low Countries. He was introduced to Robert Catesby, who planned to assassinate King James I and restore a Catholic monarch to the throne. Fawkes was caught guarding the explosives planted underneath the House of Lords and was sentenced to be hung, drawn, and quartered. But since joining the Swingers as their starting pitcher, he's shown his competitive spirit and workhorse mentality with an accurate right arm and an uncomfortable slider. He's going to be one to watch in this year's league. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. Let's have some predictions for next week, and we'll get out of here. So week 2 coming up on Monday. Potomac Commanders, Renaissance Runners. I've got to go Potomac. I just think that Bush is pretty good. He could stretch a little bit further. Grant's got the composure. I don't see the Runners on the road managing to put up a win. Socratic Swingers, Royal Flushers. I think Royal Flushers take this one even on the road. They were on the road in week 1. They look pretty good. Definitely not the best team, but I think there's a lot of work to do. Depends on Habsburg. If Habsburg's in, the Royal Flushers. If Habsburg's out and Thales can get that curveball in the strike zone, I'm going the Swingers. But the Slammers. But I'm going to pick Royal Flushers. I think they can do it. Okay, Gladiators, Nordics. Gladiators, I think they put a win on the board. They put 5 runs up against the Red Scares this week. So next week, I give it to the Gladiators. I think that's enough. I don't think the Nordics have got what it takes. Now, this could be a big game. The Vanguards and the Guillotines. Guillotines on the road. First time we'll see the Vanguards at home. I'm pretty excited for this one. I think the Guillotines can edge it. But this is 2 teams that have good chemistry, good teamwork. I just think that Fawkes is going to edge out that bullpen of the Vanguards. I don't think it's strong enough. I think the Guillotines are just going to be slightly better, slightly more composed, slightly more controlled, and I think that Fawkes is the one that's going to do that. Okay, on Friday we have Spark Syndicate Red Scares. I think that against the Warlords, the Syndicate didn't really do anything impressive. There's a really good chance that Curie is going to be out with a dislocated shoulder. I'd be surprised to see her back in next week. Red Scare's just doing too much. Even on the road, they could be pretty crazy. And on Saturday, our Saturday game, I'm Warlords, Compass Crushers. I'm giving it to the Crushers. Even on the road, even with that high wall in right field, the Crushers look really good. I like Hudson. I like his flair. I like his style. And I think Marco Polo's got enough. I think there's some teething problems, but I think they're going to do really well. I'm excited for it. Right, okay, I'm going to get out of here. This has gone way too long. I'm going to get out of here, and I will see you next week.